Chapter 9, Changing What You Feel. Martian, yes. I'm bored. With what? I don't know. I've just spent the whole day feeling bored. So, well, I just thought I'd mention it. What did you have in mind in mentioning it? Nothing in particular. I just thought I'd mention it. You're not being straight. The part of you that brought it up had a reason for doing so. What do you mean? You have something in mind. No, I don't. It was just something to say, something to start the conversation with. Yes, but of all the things you might have said to start the conversation, you chose to say that you were bored. What's that about? Nothing. It's not about anything. I'm sorry I said it. Oh? Yes, I wouldn't have said it if I thought I was going to get hassled. Who's hassling you? You are. You're asking me to justify bringing it up. You're saying I have to have a reason. You didn't hear me. I didn't say you have to have a reason. I said you had one, and I wondered what it was. Well, it's the same thing. They both mean I have to justify bringing the subject up, that I shouldn't have brought it up without a reason. No, they don't mean the same thing. They're different statements. I didn't ask you to justify anything. You didn't? Well, I think you did. It sounded that way to me, but I didn't. Look, when you were young, did you always need to have a reason for doing things? How am I supposed to know? I don't remember everything that happened when I was young. Were you punished if you didn't have a reason? Well, I guess I was. That's why I'm sorry I brought the subject up. You're doing the same thing my parents always did, saying that I have to have a reason. I'm not saying that. You're still not hearing me. What part of a person says he has to have things or he has to do things? Is parent? Okay. You seem to be suggesting that I'm your parent, saying you have to do something and making demands of you. Huh. But I'm not your parent. I'm not making demands of you. I'm not saying you have to do anything. It's your own parent saying it to you, just like your mother and father used to do. Your own parent is now very much like they used to be. You hassle yourself. You mean you didn't say I have to have a reason? That's right. You only thought I did because it's so indelibly etched in your own parent. What I said was you had a reason, and I wondered what it was. But isn't that the same thing? No. Your parent made a demand of you. It said you had to have a reason, or you had to justify yourself. Your adopted child got scared because it didn't see any way of living up to the demand. I didn't make a demand of you. I made a statement of fact. What, that I had a reason for bringing the subject up? Yes. Well, if I do, I certainly can't think of it. That doesn't mean you don't have a reason. It only means you'll feel scared if your parent says you need one. I really didn't have a reason. I brought the subject up because I felt like it. I just wanted to. But that's a reason right there. What? That I wanted to bring it up? Yes. Well, it's not a reason to most people. The people I know usually want a better reason than that. Yes, I know. Yet it's really the best reason of all. It says your natural child is the source of your motivation. It never satisfied my mother and father. I know. That's how they got you to do what they wanted. They didn't accept what you wanted. They nearly buried your natural child in the process. But I know lots of other people who don't accept it either. That's their problem, not yours. What's important is that you learn to accept it. You need to give yourself permission to do what you want. Why do you say that? Because you don't have your own permission yet. Until you do, you'll use time and energy arguing with your parent. Your parent will place demands on you, and you'll get involved in complying, or rebelling, or arguing, or feeling angry or scared. Time spent dealing with your parent will be unavailable for more productive uses. Well, how do I do it? How do I give myself permission? Get your parent off your back. Let yourself do what you want. You mean anything I want? Whenever I want to do it? Whatever it takes. Should I just ignore other people and do what I want in spite of what they may think? Do you hear yourself? You're asking me what you should do. You need to have your own permission, not mine. I'll be here for your entire journey, regardless of what you do. But if I just go ahead and do what I want, I'll have some really bad arguments with my family and with people I work with. So, if they won't like it, I'll upset their plans. They want me to do what they want. Will that be a problem for you? It sure will. I get into enough arguments as it is. I could get fired, or my wife might even divorce me. So? What do you mean, so? That would be terrible. Why? Are you kidding? I could lose everything. If these people stop you from doing what you want, why do you want them around? Because I don't want to get fired or divorced. That would be disastrous. Do you hear yourself? Huh? Scaring yourself. You mean saying it's disastrous? That I could lose everything? Yes. Well, I could. You could, but not necessarily. It's not inevitable, but it's highly likely. There are other possibilities. I can't think of any. Do you want to continue scaring yourself? No. Will you stop? I, I don't know if I can. Sure, you can. Let's examine how you get into it. Into what? Scaring myself? Yes. Well, I think about how terrible it would be to get fired or divorced, how awful it would be to lose everything. What else do you think about? I think about how I don't have any other ways to deal with my boss or my wife. Like, if I decide to do what I want, there's no alternative but disaster. What part of you has dealt with them in the past? Well, it's hard to say. I guess it's mainly my adapted child when you get right down to it. I'm usually compliant or angry, either rebelling or doing what I'm told. Okay, so there are some possibilities for using your other parts in the future. And disaster may come if you continue to use your adapted child, but it may not come if you use your adult. Hmm, it's hard for me to figure out what my adult would say. I know, it takes practice, but let's get back to how you scare yourself. Okay, people who succeed in life think about the future as you do, but they think about it in a different way. They don't think about the disaster that might occur if they were to use their adapted child. They think about the success that will be inevitable if they use their natural child and their adult. They do? Yes. And they feel something different too. There's always a certain amount of nervous energy involved in anticipating the future. The energy can be turned into fear by thinking of how your adapted child will handle things, or it can be turned into excitement and eagerness by thinking of getting all you want out of life by using your natural child and adult. People who succeed generate excitement. People who fail generate fear. Oh, that's interesting. You mean people use energy in both cases? Yes. They use as much energy to stop themselves as they do to move forward and succeed. You've stopped yourself for quite a while, and it will take considerable energy and effort on your part to get out of your mess. But once you've started, you'll pick up momentum and the rest will come easy. Oh, that's good to know. Right now, it just getting started seems almost impossible. I know. That's an indication of how much energy you'll need to apply. And this way I've been stopping myself or scaring myself, you think that it's energy applied in the wrong direction? Yes, and you learned to do it that way, just as other Earth people learned how to keep themselves eager and excited. Oh, what's the key to generating this excitement? Getting your parent off your back. This excitement comes from your natural child, and right now, your natural child is so stifled by your parent that the energy doesn't even get the chance to surface. You need to back up and rid yourself of all your shoulds and all your ought tos and all your have tos. The energy you need comes from anticipating getting what you want, knowing your parent won't intervene, and being confident that by merely continuing to do what you're doing, you'll get what you want. But how can I be sure I'll get what I want just by doing whatever I'm doing? If what you're doing is using your adult and natural child, and you continue to do so, it's inevitable. So it really boils down to knowing which part you're using and making sure you stay with your adult and natural child. Absolutely. Well, what about this boredom I've been feeling the past few days? What about it? I was wondering if it was my natural child or my adapted child. Which do you think it is? I'm not sure. I started feeling bored right after I decided to stop hurrying. I've collected a whole bunch of things to do and I don't seem to care if I do them. So what's the problem? I'm not accomplishing anything. So I want to accomplish something. I don't want to just sit around doing nothing. You're accomplishing something now. Well, that's not what I mean. I don't like feeling bored. It's not helping me any. Ah, are you aware that this is the reason you brought the subject up in the first place? Way back when you started this conversation and said you didn't have a reason? Yeah, I guess it is. I was hoping to hear you say this when we first started the conversation. We couldn't work on your boredom until I knew you actually wanted to do something about it. Oh, that's interesting. I guess I wasn't very clear when we started talking. Somehow, I'm a lot clearer now. Good. Now, what do you want to do? I want to stop feeling bored. Okay, let's examine how you get into it. Have you felt bored very often? Not really. I'm usually rushing around too much to feel bored. Think back. Well, when I was young, I used to go on vacations with my folks. We went to the lake and everyone would sort of hang around and act lazy. Was it boring? Not really. I think I mainly felt lethargic. Come to think of it, that's more like what I've been feeling lately. I've been feeling more lethargic than bored. What was the purpose of feeling lethargic on your vacation? Oh, it sort of filled the time. It was resting and relaxing. You liked it. Yes. After all the hurrying and hard work, it was a relief. It sounds like it was something like a reward. Yes, that's what it was. You didn't have to go anywhere or do anything. You could just sit around and feel lethargic. It was a reward for all the hurrying and hard work. What's this about hard work? What do you mean? You mentioned hard work. Well, that's what everyone did, at least most of the time. My father worked hard all his life. My mother worked hard at home. But on vacations, everyone got to sit around and do nothing. We all felt lethargic. It was better than hurrying and hard work. Oh, yes. It was the opposite of hard work. Hard work was stressful or painful. It was a constant burden. Feeling lethargic was good. It was what you got to do after the hard work. So, when you recently decided to stop hurrying, did you decide to reward yourself by feeling lethargic? Huh? You heard. Did I decide to reward myself? Yes. Gee, I don't know. If feeling lethargic was a reward for you in the past, the reward for all the hurrying you did, it would make sense for you to start feeling it now, right after you decided to stop hurrying. Oh boy, I really think you've hit on something. Actually, now that I think of it, I really feel lethargic quite often. Whenever I do anything my parents says I should do, I usually feel lethargic afterward. It's like a reward for doing what I was told. Sometimes the lethargy is hard to get rid of. Well, when I feel lethargic, I don't think very clearly. Also, my mind sort of goes blank. Is that a reward too? Not having to think? Yes, it is. It goes along with the lethargy, not having to do anything and not having to think about anything. That's why it's such a hindrance to me now. I've been wanting to start thinking for some time, and the lethargy has been getting in my way. But now we're getting somewhere. Oh, I just thought of something else. I think I decided once that if I ever had to choose between lethargy and hard work, I'd choose lethargy. I decided that working hard was dumb and that it was much better to feel lethargic. That's very interesting. Yes, I also think at some level, I've been feeling that this process we've been going through is too much work. I think I've been tricking myself into feeling lethargic as a reward for going through all this frustration. Ooh, you're really getting clear now. Do you want to stop rewarding yourself this way? Yes. Will you? Yes, I sure will. Now that I know this feeling is just an old reward, it's a lot easier for me to deal with. I can stop feeling it and reward myself in other ways. Good. Now, before we leave the subject, can you tell me whether this lethargy, or boredom, as you first called it, was an adapted child feeling or a natural child feeling? It was an adapted child feeling. It was programmed. I learned it on my early vacations at the lake. And what have you decided to do about it? I've decided to stop feeling it, to turn the tape off. And how have you been able to do this? Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but by going back and remembering how I first started feeling lethargic, I can understand the decision I made about when and how to feel it. And I can decide not to do it anymore. Okay, that's how you turn off your tapes. You've done it several times now, and I want to keep calling your attention to it so that you can continue to get a feel for the process. That's fine by me. I appreciate it. Comments? You can't become rich if you don't have the energy to do what you want. You need energy to rearrange your life. You need to feel eager, excited, and enthusiastic. If you don't, that is, if you feel bored, sad, depressed, listless, apathetic, exhausted, confused, worried, distracted, melancholy, or defeated instead, you must first redecide such feelings before you can get on with the business of making money or becoming happy. Energy is something you feel. A feeling in its simplest form is energy that is focused in a certain direction, at a certain intensity, and with a certain intent. If your energy is directed inwardly, as when you feel depressed or defeated, or randomly, as when you feel confused or distracted, or if it's kept at a low level, as when you feel bored or listless, or even at a high level, but focused unproductively, as when you feel angry at someone in a vengeful way, you're not using your energy to succeed, you're using it to stop yourself from succeeding. Learning to alter your energy usage involves learning to redecide what you've learned to feel. It involves replacing your old low energy feelings with new higher energy feelings. You can't feel enthusiastic and depressed simultaneously. And if you feel depressed, you won't have the energy to get what you want. If you found a low energy feeling you want to get rid of, like Earth Person's lethargy, and if you can't identify its related justifications and parent driver, you might try thinking back to see if you can locate the situation where you first started having the feeling. It may take some practice, but most people can learn to jog their memory sufficiently to come up with the origins of most of their key feelings. The history of how you learn to feel is the history of how you learn to use your energy. By reviewing your past, you can learn about your decisions to feel certain feelings, like Earth Person's feeling lethargy as a reward, which might never surface in any other way. All people have the same general ability to produce high-level, well-focused energy. Their metabolism rates may differ slightly, and they may have different high and low points during the day, but unless their diets are substantially lacking in nutrients or their breathing is so shallow that enough oxygen doesn't get into their bloodstream, people do have the capacity to feel genuinely eager and excited most of the day. Whether they do or not depends less on physical or chemical factors than on what they've learned to feel, or more accurately, on how they've learned to direct their energy. As you learn how to focus your energy, watch how often you focus it inwardly in a dialogue with your parent. Watch how you use your energy to resist the demands of your parent and feel guilty, worried, or jumpy. Watch how your parent uses it to stop you from doing things, and you then feel restless, discontented, unsettled, and uneasy. Watch what happens when your parent wins the battle and you end up feeling indifferent, listless, apathetic, and defeated. Consider what might happen if you didn't lose your energy in these ways. If you freed it for use in achieving your real goals in life.